Cybernation Uncensored.
Hey, we're live again. Welcome back to Cybernation Uncensored. I am your game master for this evening, and we are playing Blade Runner. This is a continuation of our ongoing stream, but before we get started, and before I forget, again, let's introduce our players and who they are playing this evening. Echo.
My name's Echo. I'm playing Echo Jones. I'm here on the Cybernation Uncensored Discord, and my character just got done eating a great meal at Shockman's house, and ready to start a new day after saving the city, or at least a small corporate section of it.
A hospital. Shockman.
Yeah, a hospital.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Shockman, and for just minor correction, because I do not live anywhere near Echo, Stone just treated everybody to a great dinner. Well, not everybody. LT wasn't there, but yeah, happy to be here. Looking forward to killing some more replicants, living the life of a Blade Runner, and trying not to get shot in the process. So let's get on with today. Hell yeah.
Dorjley.
Hi, I'm Dorjley. I play Evie, and right now she's having an existential crisis. No big deal.
Welcome to the life of a Blade Runner. And Nolan.
Hey guys, I'm Nolan North. You can find me in this Discord as Nolan. Occasionally my name will kind of change, but it should stay Nolan because I'm in a couple play-by posts. I have a casting call out for Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. I got to play with the actual author the other day at Neon Con. It was all online. That was really fun. So, there's some actual connection to the guy who actually wrote the stuff out for the book. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. So casting calls out there. You want to join that casting call, get in the Discord. Otherwise, I'm going to find you. But besides that, I play Lance Rogers, a really good detective. Lance Rogers is a very interesting fellow. He just worked overtime. With him being worked overtime, working overtime, watching a very interesting person of interest. There you go, being redundant. I'm gonna see what happens. I got my smokes for the following day, but I'm gonna be I wish I would have gone to bed.
Great.
The question is, are your senses working overtime?
So,
I have no idea.
Anybody who's old enough to get that reference will get it.
Like everyone said, we're in the middle of a case here. You guys have found potentially someone involved in the bombing of a hospital and a dead body along with it. There was already information given to Lance about how that person, that replicant that you found, was involved somehow, or at least had the skill set necessary. So did the dead body, so you can kind of assume that they were working as a pair. You don't yet know why the other one was dead, other than gunshot. Meanwhile, the others are enjoying their downtime, having a bit of a meal at Stone's house. That meal went relatively well till Evie, for one reason or another, stormed out of that house. So that is the appropriate place where we will begin. Because you were given an address, I am under the assumption that Evie and Echo have brought their own spinners to this house. Mm-hmm. And because you are running away from here, I'm going to assume, unless you'd like to do the running in the rain thing, that you're going to take the spinner? Are you in the mindset to take the spinner? Or are you just gonna run through the rain?
But running in the rain is so moody.
Especially if you have jazz going on in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think she is gonna walk or run home in the rain. Probably start off running, but she's mobile, but she doesn't have a lot of stamina, so probably not very long.
When you abruptly leave, and this area didn't mention last week, this area is outside of central LA, which is where most of where all your cases happen. Considered like your beat, your patrol route. Outside of central LA, you have this upscale neighborhood, as was described. The house is fairly nice and has even a touch of real grass in it, something you haven't seen in a while. But as you move around, and since you're walking, think of it like an uphill neighborhood. So you have the house up top and you're walking downhill along the rain, getting away from it all. You're seeing the other houses here, and you're seeing that they're not exactly the same, but they have the same vibe to it. They have the grass, a few trees. It's a nice neighborhood. It's a very upscale neighborhood, and you can barely hear the constant gunshots that you've become accustomed to where you're from. While you're walking down the hill in the middle of this rain, and you're looking at these other houses, it's not a headache, but it's like there's something in your head you can't shake off at the moment. You see this one house to your left as you're walking down, and you're seeing it built. It has a strange architecture to it. It looks like a regular modern house, but there's one side of the roof that just slopes down a little more than the rest. It's asymmetrical. And a memory comes back to you in your head. You're looking at it from the first person perspective, and you're holding a clipboard, and it has general blueprints of what is yet to be built. A foundation's being dug by a construction crew. You take a pencil from your ear, and there's a person you're talking to. They're dressed fairly nicely, albeit a bit older. Maybe the fashion's outdated by a few decades. And you're looking at them, and I say you as in the memory of what you're having. So, you got everything that you want, sir? And the man just looks... Yeah. Although there's one change I'd like to make. Right here on the side, I want that sloping, and as that memory, we have the scene of that memory transitioning to Evie, looking at the house, finishing that man's sentence. Sloping roof, and it's your voice that finishes that sentence. Like, you know this house and this history, why it was built this way. And that scene repeats as you go down further houses. You are seeing various design choices, personal choices that you are familiar with. And it plays in your head, these memories of this, like, somehow you were involved in making this neighborhood how it is, but that can't be right. And before you know it, you are now at the bottom of that hill, past that upscale neighborhood, and you realize that the rest of Los Angeles is in front of you. That big neon city with the smog covering it that looks like a light gray fog covering most of the neon lights. What do you do? Or the first thing I should ask, do you want to shove these memories down? Because you know you're not supposed to have them.
I think that she takes a moment and kind of just like sits with the memories for a second and looks back at the neighborhood and the familiar houses that are back down that street. And she thinks about going back and then shakes it off and tries to push them down.
Great. Like a baseline test, roll your insight. Unless I'm mistaken, there should be about 4 bonuses here for anyone who'd like to use them.
I'm
Would
gonna
you
keep
like
it.
Keep it. Great.
I'm gonna keep it.
You try to push these memories down, but even sitting here in the rain brings you back this strange feeling of being in a pawn show, talking to some people, checking how you want this particular part where the bench that you decided to sit on is, and how you want it landscaped. You have something from that memory. You can see that the person you're talking about landscaping this part, is or has a Wallace badge on them. You're not sure what it is because it has the Wallace Corporation badge on it, but it is much older than what you know their badge to be. It's not the same as what you know it now, but it is Wallace Corp, just a different design. And the city doesn't look quite as desolate. Things that you know exist are still under construction, so you can tell that this was in the past, but the more you try to shove these memories down, the more difficult it becomes to actually do it. It's like it's fighting you. It wants you to know this is part of you. And at this point, whatever you're gonna do, you can choose to ignore it, but it's always gonna be there. Or you can, if you'd like to, try to remember and actually lean into it. Which should be it's worth saying is against everything that you were built to be. Either way, you know that if you tell anyone about this, there's a baseline test coming your way.
I think she spends some time kind of on the street and not like full on the side in the fetal position, but she's definitely like crouching and is sort of like holding her head in her hands and is like trying to like hit her head to try and like get the thoughts out of it, and it's just like shut up, like stop this, trying to fight it as much as she can, but it's not going away, it's not leaving. And she looks up and exhales, and there's like tears that are starting to sort of stream down her face, and since she knows that she can't like make these memories go away, she's gonna try and remember. If they're not gonna go away, then she may as well know as much as that she can.
There is nothing to remember. They are fragments. The more you try to analyze them, the more you realize that they're not complete. They weren't built complete. They're kind of like the core memories that you were given as being part of Blade Runner, as being a replicant. They weren't designed to be complete. They were just designed to be there. So you have these fragments, you have knowledge of this. One thing you do remember, though, that isn't part of what you've already seen and experienced right here: the sounds of gunfire and shooting and violence everywhere. You are hearing those shots ring out all throughout this place, like you're in some kind of war zone. But as soon as you feel like you've been shot, like something hit you, and you reel back and hold on to yourself, the memories finally give you some respite. And when you look down at where you've been shot, there's nothing there. You're just holding on to yourself. But the memories have silenced themselves. It's gone quiet.
Jeez. Yeah, I think in that moment that she comes to, it's like, I don't know, is there anyone out on the street? Is it
There's
like,
a
is
few
anywhere I'm
people.
at? There's a
So
few
there are
people?
1 or 2 spinner car or ground cars heading up this hill.
Mhm.
On the other hand, there are a few people walking with an umbrella, trying to run.
Mhm.
And because you've been sitting out in the rain for quite a bit,
Yeah.
you do notice someone coming up to you with an umbrella. Young girl
Okay.
who looks at you. Miss, are you okay? And she shares an umbrella with you, one of those like plastic transparent umbrellas she puts over your head.
And that moment when I hear her, that's the moment I come to when I feel like I've been shot and go and like
She reels
back away
back.
from her like I'm terrified.
It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm just here. And she pushes an umbrella towards you, a spare one that she just leaves in front of you, and slowly steps back with her hands up.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Of course. Would you like to come inside and get the change? Or should I call you a cab?
Yeah, she takes a moment, takes time to take everything in, remembering where she is again. I think some dry clothes would be good. Is that okay?
She nods. Like, my house is just here. And she looks like she lives at the bottom of the hill. She was coming from up, going down. So you're walking towards the same direction. Compared to what's up that hill, it is a much more modest house. There's no greenery here. There are some trees, but on one look when you touch them, you can clearly tell they're fake. Like it's just for the ambiance of it. Even the grass, you step on it, you can tell that they're like a fake plastic lawn. It's just for the look of it. When she lets you in, it's a one-story house. There's like a bedroom to the right. The kitchen and living room sort of blend into this one central space. A bathroom in front of the other house. And then on the left side, there's a storage closet. And she just looked, here, let me get you some fresh clothes. There's water and other juices in the fridge if you'd like.
Thanks. Do you have a towel?
Yeah, of course. And
Thank
she
you.
goes to the bathroom and hands you one. I'll be back with some fresh clothes. Would you like to use the shower?
No, I think this is perfect. Thank you. You're already doing too much.
Thankfully, this house doesn't resemble any memory you have. So there is a
She like
nice-
exhales like
quiet peace while you're here. And as you dry up, she brings you regular clothes. And they're not as fancy or as high quality as anything you were provided before. Instead, it is a regular black shirt and some dark jeans and some boots. And she throws in like a small coat over it. It's one of those female coats that like cut off halfway through the waist, but they have full sleeves. It's made of leather, but she hands you these clothes. You can get changed in the restroom if you like. Do you want me to prepare you anything? Water, tea?
no. I just had a really big meal, so this will be perfect, and I'll be out of your way.
Okay then. She hands you the clothes. You can get changed. You can see the mess that you are in the mirror. The rain has made your hair kind of flattened and noodly across your side. Any makeup that you may have even bothered to put on, depending if you do, has scattered a bit. But when you change out the clothes, there's a little hair dryer there if you want to use it. Otherwise, you're as dry as you can be.
Okay, I think she just used the towel to dry up her hair as much as she can, and change. With her clothes in hand and leaving the bathroom, she goes to the grill and says, "And all of this, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you your name."
I'm Emma.
Emma, Evie.
She shakes your hand. She hands you the umbrella. Like, if you're free to stay here, but if you really want to go, you're going to need this.
Thanks. Yes, I definitely will. I should probably go back to my own place, but
Are you all right?
I don't know, but that's not your problem. You don't have to worry about it. I'll get your clothes and your umbrella back to you.
You can.
I have a friend who lives in the neighborhood, and I'll remember
You
how to
can
get
leave
back.
it in the mail if you like.
Okay. Works too. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Evie, roll your observation for me, just to see what you notice.
Good thing I improved it.
You got 2 successes. Okay.
Woo!
When you look around this house, there isn't anything personal. There's no like family portraits, there's no childhood photos, no albums. And it does not take long after you finally compose yourself and dried up and change your clothes before you realize this is a replicant's house. There's nothing personal here. You obviously can't be sure without checking a serial code, but just based on everything here, she's probably a replicant. You don't have to do anything with that information, but it's just what you notice on the side.
Okay. Yeah, I won't do anything with that information as of now.
You can, if you'd like, you can call to your spinner. You haven't gone that far, so it can actually arrive in front of you.
Okay, yeah, I think
then drive off.
Probably should. Just to prevent myself from getting any more soaked. And now that calmed down a little bit, I feel more
back
able
home
to drive.
then.
Yeah.
To regular LAPD housing. So, the other person who's got some shit to deal with is the lieutenant, Lance.
Yeah.
I gave you the information, autopsy and otherwise. Both the dead replicant that they found in a van and this one that you caught and crashed the car of have combined the expertise necessary to pull off what was done in the hospital, that bomb threat. So you have that much on you right now. When you're sitting here observing, he's not waking up yet, and the doctors will come to you from the LAPD and ask, "Hey, Detective Rogers, so we can let the guy recover, which means we'll put him under for a while, or if you want, we can wake him up now, but he'll probably be in a lot of pain. Not sure how useful he's going to be in that regard."
Well, if he's in pain, then I won't have to torture him. I'm kidding. You couldn't do that to another man. Everybody says you can't get evidence from a man who's under duress, so I'm gonna keep an eye on him. But yeah, let's put him under. Maybe he might be a little bit more apt to talk if he's not in pain. So he's treated, as I'd say, really get in his head. Anybody else would have had a chance to, make him talk right now, but putting him out, might give him a chance.
Okay. He just looks at you. There's one thing we did find out. Aside from what we already told you, both of them are Nexus 8s. They've got skills learned from Calantha. They were part of a squadron. An infantry squadron, but they're the only survivors of that squadron. After their assessments, they went AWOL, and they haven't been seen since. We pulled out their military records from the Esper wall.
Thank you.
He hands the papers to you. Exactly as he says, they're part of the Calantha War, the Off-World War. Before that, they had their own jobs, much like most of the Nexus 8s. They were just sort of drafted into it. They had a squadron that died. It's on record. But that they were recorded to be alive, like they were safe. But they went AWOL shortly after. They didn't return to duty like they were supposed to. This is...
Well, that's a start.
So, he just gestures the body. Still want to wake him up, or let him get some rest?
I look at the. I'm looking at the doctor, and I mean, at this time of, since he's already kind of been, like, they got that info ready. How much time has passed at this fourth shift in overtime?
About 4 hours, and you are going to have to spend one more stress point because of his overtime. Although I think you already smoked, so never mind. I think I already made you lose stress. And for the record, while Bookish Wyvern has given us +2 specific to George Stone, there are now 2 disadvantages for the next 2 rolls to be made. Thanks to both
Perfect.
Bookish Wyvern and Visible Junkie again. So whoever's gonna make the next 2 rolls, there's gonna be some negatives there. But there are 4 +2s and 1 +2 specific to George.
Who did you say gave me the +2?
Bookish Wyvern, who also
Thank
gave
you,
the
Bookish
-2.
Wyvern. You are an awesome person.
Who also threw in the negative. Oh, never mind. One of the -2s goes to Lance, specifically. So whatever your next roll, Lance, is the disadvantage. So what do you want to
I'll
do?
be
What do you
alright.
do to anybody?
I'm gonna look at the doctor and Doc. Okay. I think, you know, if anybody would have attacked him by now, I would have put him out already. So I'm just gonna head back to my desk and finish up some paperwork, do some little bit of small time research, and let the man get some rest. I'll ask questions in the morning.
He nods. You want to call this your downtime, or do you still want to work? Well, you don't get downtime. Like, do you want to do anything else with your overtime? Is the question.
Yes. If possible, I would like to go get an ocular implant.
Can you afford one?
That is a good question. Let's go find out. I believe its
Hey, DM.
cost is 8, right?
It has a cost of 8, yes, so 8 Chinian. Would you like to trade? One second. Would you like to trade your promotion points for some money?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a
So,
little conversion here.
The unfortunate
broke
thing
a little
here
bit.
is you are going to spend 3 of your promotion points that convert to Chinian. The unfortunate thing here is Miserable Junkie doesn't want you to have an easy time, so roll connections with a disadvantage.
Roll connections with a disadvantage. That's a stat that I'm really good at, so I won't need luck.
Even at disadvantage, you get a crit. Wonderful. So you can remove your 8 Chinian, and I will provide you with an ocular implant. Now, the only question I have here is, do you want to do this off the books and get it outside of the LAPD, or you're fine with the LAPD installing an eyeball into you?
At the moment, I'm protected, and connections roll with that triple double crit. Maybe like I don't know. I like did a favor for somebody there, one of the medical team, and I'm just chilling. Like, hey, what were you gonna say, George?
I was gonna say you get your Kuroshi optics.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, unfortunately not the same for this universe. I've done a good job of not saying choom, but yes. So GM, sorry.
I was gonna say, 4 plus 2s. There is a one specific to George, and there's still a disadvantage floating around, which I don't think has been assigned to anyone. So whoever's gonna make the next roll still has disadvantage. But Lance, they do an ocular implant to your eye. You have advantage on observation rolls now. Even able to see in the darkness. But that is the 4th shift for everyone. But, sorry, one thing. George or Echo, after Evie ran off, will either of you do anything?
I specifically will gather up some a bunch of the leftovers from the meal that night. I will put them into individual little containers, like little like somewhat multi-use but not like forever use Tupperware containers, enough for like 3 or 4 lunches throughout the week, and I will put them into individual little bags, kiss my sister on the head, and I will make sure that Echo gets a bag, that I leave a bag at LT's place, and that knowing that Evie got her, brought her spinner, I will probably try and leave hers on or near her car.
Okay.
Just with a little thing on the inside saying, "Hey, hope you're okay. If you need to talk, I'm here."
Then, when you and Echo will notice this too, because you're still together. When you put the meal in the car, close up the spinner, you will actually see its autopilot engage and it starts moving.
Okay.
This is while you're at home. Echo, would you like to follow or leave it alone?
I was thinking I would just go with him, but if you're saying Stone is specifically going off by himself.
Well, that depends. Is Stone going home?
So I'm not getting into into her spinner. I'm just
putting the food there.
Thing.
I'm saying that the two of you see the spinner's autopilot engage and it starts flying. So I'm asking you, since you're the one who since Echo has to get home, assuming George is staying in this house. But if you're not, then both of you, would you like to follow?
I was gonna head back to my place.
Yeah, then both of you, would you like to follow the spinner or just go straight home?
I mean, I'll take the spinner. I'll go with Echo. Figure we can.
No, I meant like, would you like to follow Evie's spinner? Do you want to follow where it's going, or do you want to head straight home? Like basically, do you want to go where she goes?
Yeah, I'm trying to think why I would want to. I'm kind of worried about her, seeing her run away and everything like that. I would actually probably be looking for her as I drive away as well, just looking in the rain, making sure seeing if she's around.
Then, when you guys follow
enough time. I would say enough time has gone by. I probably wouldn't message her or anything like that because it didn't happen when she was doing her. She already went home.
So when you follow the spinner,
I'll follow.
You're going downhill, and you do see Evie coming out of a house in new clothes. By the time you arrive, you're seeing her get on the spinner and takes it away. She's coming out of a house. There seems to be a young woman, about in her early mid-20s, who hands her an umbrella. And she gets in her spinner using that umbrella, then drives off.
She does get the food though.
Yeah.
The food on the cart.
There's food in the car. Yeah.
Little dish of chicken carbonara.
Yeah.
Little dish of chicken parm. Some veal cutlet. Little bit of meatballs and all that stuff. Yeah.
There is a +2 specific to Nolan again. From Miserable
Her
Chunky.
soul is disturbed and disjointed at the moment, but it did not affect.
Oh, no, sorry. This is a +2
Trusting
for
other
Evie, specifically for your next baseline test.
Nice.
There's a +2 for Miserable Junkie for you, specifically for your next
for my
baseline test.
I thought we were saying that my baseline test is the next roll and I get the negative.
Oh, no, you get a +2. But if it is the next roll, then yes, you are getting the negative. But there's a +2 specific to your baseline test. So, will everyone just head
Well, I'm
home
gonna
now?
see her getting into the car. Yeah, I'm gonna see her getting into the car. I'm gonna look over
Yeah.
at Nolan and say, I'm gonna look over
George.
and say at George and say, looks like she's gonna be okay. She's a little distraught, and I have a few questions about some stuff I saw about tonight. We can discuss it later, but
We
as
just
long,
had
as long as this
dinner.
isn't some.
He will cut you off and he will say, head over to and he'll kind of chuckle and be like, head over to 52nd and Broadway. I know a great dive bar that we can go to and get a drink. It's a cop bar, though not one that's usually frequented. I figure if you have any questions, now might be a good night to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have a few questions. As long as this isn't some big game.
Yeah.
You really want
It's
to do this tonight?
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're okay with that, DM.
Yeah. Just giving you guys an option. If you want to talk about something this heavy this evening, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because if I don't talk to you about it, I'm going to talk to Lance about it later. So let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So what do you discuss over drinks?
As I order us each a double of Wild Turkey 101.
I'm going to open things up by saying it was a nice house, big house. A lot of people don't have houses that big. I got to say, when I went to the bathroom, I almost got lost. And I'll take a sip of the drink and then say, but I couldn't help but notice, you guys feel right at home, but Evie herself seemed a little bit more familiar with the place than a stranger like me. And I'll just take another sip.
Yeah, I also noticed that she had a particular familiarity, almost like she had been there before, maybe a long time ago, but had been there before. Considering what we've been dealing with and what we've been finding out, I wonder if she wasn't implanted with some memories that might be familiar, make her familiar with the property.
I know you've been helping Evie a lot with the more human side of life.
Climatizing, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's one word for it. I think we all appreciate it. She's going through a lot right now, it looks like. I think we need to bring it up with her. But as long as this isn't some weird game that's being played in regards to the stuff you talked to me about, and with her being familiar with the place, we need to dig into it. If you're in the dark as much as I am.
To my knowledge, it is not a game. To my knowledge, everything that I showed you tonight was legitimate. That being said, what I know isn't always what's factual. What we know isn't always factual, and we may have no idea until it bites us in the ass. So I tell you, to my knowledge, this is not a game, and I have been telling you the truth 100%. Or if you
You've been straight with me so far. Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you've been straight with me so far, and as long as you're not lying to me now, I don't mind trusting you a little bit longer, and we keep going with this. We're a team. I want to stick it that way.
Well, I would hope that you would. I would hope that you would trust me entirely. I don't wish the team any ill.
No, but when you have questions, at least you're given answers, and that helps a lot. I'll take a big.
Yes.
I'll finish off my drink.
Now, before I continue to your next shift, Evie, I am giving you 1 point of humanity because you failed that memory and you tried to dig it up instead of following your quote-unquote programming. For the rest of you, however, well, except for Lance, because you don't know what happened, Echo or George, would you like to report the anomaly? Because I will be very clear, that is your job. She's a replicant. She's acting a little off base. Even by a small tangent, you are supposed to report that. Now I'm asking, do you report that?
I don't.
Echo?
I'm gonna bring it up. I'm troubled by this. The idea that she's running off in the rain. She's upset. There's weird stuff going on. I don't have any solid answers. She's just acting weird. I approached George about it. He didn't have any answers. So I'm going to message. I'm going to message Nolan and George. I'm not Nolan. Lance and George, and say, "Hey, I'm doing my reports right now. Paperwork. Stuff with Evie. I gotta say something.
Idea. Go ahead, Echo.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, even if Lance, I'm just gonna copy Lance in with it. And I'm gonna say, Lance, Evie ran off into the night. She was acting weird at George's dinner party. I'm as accepting as the next guy of the replicants and all the stuff that's going on, but I'm also new here. I don't want to screw up anything. I feel like I'm gonna put in my report that she's been acting weird, unless you guys say otherwise. We're a team here, but I want to play by the rules.
George will literally just say, "It's your call, LT."
Same thing, Lance. That is something you should report. Will you?
Yep. My message back to the group doesn't come back immediately. Because I'm probably working on getting my eye, and so it's probably like almost midnight before you get a response back, and it just says it says in the fashion that again, Lance is he knows people, like he tries to know people, and so like he's not 100% sure with the new guy being in the chat, the group message. He just says that's just women in the chat, and then he just says JK JK JK, and after that he says we'll talk about it in the morning.
Yep, I'll say it sounds good, and I'll put in tomorrow's report if needed. And I'm smoking a cigar. I'm sitting there watching whatever this version of Netflix, just Are You Still Watching, is on the screen, doing my reports, and I'm thinking to myself, that session with the driving and her hitting that shot and working together and the stuff at the hospital. She's too much of a team member and too much of an asset to get rid of her at this, even if they got rid of her for rightful reasons. So I'm just not going to report it.
Yeah.
So you're going to choose to let it go?
Trusting in you guys till tomorrow. I'm going to choose to let it go, but my choice is to push it off till tomorrow, and my plan is still to report unless I hear differently.
Okay.
So, DM, there was one other quick thing that I want to remind. It was so minor. I don't think we actually did anything with it. It was barely mentioned. Jeremy, the house guy at my house, took a picture of the four of us
on Echo's KIA.
Yep, and
that was me.
I will message Echo and I will say, hey, can you send a copy of the image to everyone in the team, just so everyone has it.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll
Thank
send a
you.
group shot and a caption underneath it. One with Nolan there to say, "Wish you were here."
Yeah.
Okay. So
Burning those cigarettes at both ends.
here's an important question. Lance, the next shift, are you going to take a break? Because you are kind of sleepy.
You know, I stayed up watching the sunset come up, you know. It's always nice. I've always wanted to see a sunset come up, even now, probably with my new eye. Now that I can cut through the smog. And so like I have just that bourbon in that square glass. And I look up and I get dressed and go to work.
Take another point of stress. Would you like to spend your smoking for this shift now or later? It's once per
Later.
shift. Later. So you take 1 point of stress for now. Again, before
I
you
think I
head
did that
off
one.
to your job, this is where discussion needs to happen. And this is between the three of you before Evie arrives, if you still want to discuss that. Will you report the anomaly?
George
I'll look
will
at the
If
guys.
there's
George will look to you. Will look to both Echo and Lance, and we'll be like, "Look, I'm not saying we don't report it, but I say we give her a chance to defend herself. She should have the if I think we've all been able to tell that she's pretty damn level-headed. If she feels she needs a baseline test, she should be able to be the one. I imagine she's smart enough and self-aware enough at this point to be able to tell us. The question is, does she trust us? And if she doesn't trust us, maybe we should ask ourselves why."
For the record, Echo, since you're the new one here, by the book, that is a breach of protocol. Replicants do not get to choose when they take a baseline test because they're replicants. If they fail it, bad things happen. Why would they ever choose to do that? So, again, you're fresh off the academy. Everyone else knows this, but for you specifically, when a replicant is acting out of the norm, even a little bit, you are supposed to report it. Whether or not it comes to a baseline test is up to the captain, is up to your department head to hold it. But regardless, you are meant to report it. It's not supposed to be a choice. So what's being suggested is a breach of the
I'm gonna
protocol
do it.
that you know.
I'm going to report it, but you know what? I'm going to tell everybody here at the meeting. I'm going to say, hey, things go out of whack and they balance out. If things balance out, we won't make a big stink about this. We all have our moments, but if this is a trend and something's like broken inside of Evie that needs to be fixed or changed or healed, then we got to do something about it. But I can't see myself not putting this something about what happened last night in the report. I mean, there was a dinner, things happened. So I'm going to put in my report that we had a good dinner. She enjoyed the sweets, the food, that she got
Spooked?
that there was some what'd you say?
That she got spooked?
Yeah, she got a little spooked. She seemed to be at home, and then she got a little spooked and went off walking in contemplation. I later that night saw her entering the vehicle with a new set of clothes and umbrella. She seemed to be content and put together. That's all I have. In the sense of I'm just going to soften it as much as possible, but I have to put something in there that that she was slightly distressed and left unexpectedly, but that I did see her later that night in good mood.
Okay.
George, before Evie gets to her desk, George will see that he's doing it and say, I have respect for that. I do. Just know, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, our actions have consequences. and he'll say, "Good on you for keeping to protocol." And he'll walk back to his desk.
I'm gonna message Evie and just say, "Hey, I put in the report the dinner last night and a little bit of stuff afterwards. I softened it up, but just FYI."
For anything else, because the decision was made, and no one is stopping Echo, or I don't think anyone's trying to stop him or convince him otherwise. Okay. Echo, George, and Lance, you each get 1 promotion point, or again, protocol.
Yay! Promotion points to selling out our teammate. Woo!
Evie, you receive a message, but by the time the report is done, you're already gone for your shift. And by the time you read it and you walk in the LAPD, you hear a voice, Model EV 1-9.3 with me.
But I have read the message.
Yes.
At least.
Yep.
Okay. She will go willingly.
You are being brought to a familiar, all-white, square room with no features, small little camera monitoring your every movement, and some words being thrown at you, which means I need you to make an insight test for your baseline test. And you have advantage. So you should use that
disadvantage.
now. And you have disadvantage because of the -2 no one has used yet, which means you make a straight roll. Both, but I should also point out, both advantage and disadvantage came from Miserable Junkie, so there's that.
I know. It's so funny. Every single time.
One disadvantage came from Birdzilla. She gave her disadvantage to Lance earlier. One came from Burkish Wyvern, I think, gave the -2. Or Birdzilla. And then Miserable Junkie gave you advantage, so you're rolling normal.
Thanks, Junkie.
So
appreciate you.
When the messages go out and Echo walks away, I make my way over to watch the baseline test go on and the results go on, and like there's just like a half smile on Lance's face the whole time as he's walking over there and just watching over Evie's baseline test.
Okay. So you guys can watch. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong. Evie passes the baseline test without any issues. And for Evie, small act of kindness, a good night's rest, and some sleep. Whether or not this baseline test is indicative of your actual mental state, or it's just the muscle memory that you know what to do, who's to say but you? But that baseline test passes, well, just as expected of you, of your baseline. So for the rest who are watching, they look, results are in, she's right on her baseline, no deviations. Whatever might have happened may have just been a small personal thing, but it's not affecting how she was made or what she's made for, so you should have no problems. If you find any more anomalies, however, let us know, and they hand you the results.
Looking at those results, look at the crew, and ain't no thing. I knew she'd pass it. Just everybody gets spooked every once in a while. You hear a rat, you hear a coffee mug falling, cigars falling, gunfire. It's fucking LA. Catching a bullet's easier than catching a cold here.
Well, whatever the case, she did well. She's right on her baseline, no deviations, nothing special to report, so she's good to go. Field ready. Hands you the paper.
Perfect. And then I like take the paper, just to kind of just like put my shoulder on Echo and just kind of just like tap you a couple times, like I acknowledge you, acknowledge that the new guy is doing his thing by the book.
Okay. When you guys head out, Evie will be
Yeah.
by the hallway.
I think Evie is just standing up really straight with her arms behind her back, just waiting for her team, looking straight ahead.
Where are the orders
Did you get
now?
home okay last night?
I did.
Good to hear.
Um,
Sounds like whatever happened didn't affect you too deeply. Glad to see you're still here with us.
Of course. I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be?
Hey, none of us are fine. If you are, you're the only one here.
Yet I was the one that had a baseline test. And she walks down the hall towards.
Sure enough. I'm gonna look over at the other guy and say, she's not wrong.
Yeah, I just shake my head and I just walk over to Evie and hey Evie, we'll talk about this later. Just kind of want to see what your end was, because of course I wasn't there, I didn't see anything, so want to kind of see what's going on.
And I'm gonna heat up the leftovers in the office microwave.
And it's gonna smell amazing.
I'm gonna put a little paper plate over it so it doesn't splash all over the...
Yeah, Evie will look at Lance and say, yes, we should definitely talk at a later time at a different location. Like, saying that maybe the police station is not the place to talk about this.
Correct.
Okay. Shift 1. What's on the agenda?
So we have a couple things, right? We've got talking to the guy, the replicant that we captured. What else do we got? We had some.
Yeah, the dead body, but
a start. Yeah,
you've already gotten. You have the dead body. You've already gotten the information from that. You have the guy to interrogate. You have some coffee on you. But that's it. I don't think you have any other leads besides that, so...
Since Evie passed your baseline test, maybe you should talk to the guy, you know?
Whoever that is not Evie makes a roll, gets a disadvantage. Bookish Wyvern specifically says anyone except Evie.
Thank you, Bookish, for taking pity on me.
There are still 4 platoons floating around there, and 1 specific to George that hasn't been used yet. But for now, who wants to interrogate? Or does Lance have other orders?
I'm gonna interrogate because I'm really invested in this guy. Since I was gonna opt to stay the night.
In the interrogation.
Okay. So the 2 of you are interrogating?
Mm-hmm.
What about the other 2? There's something you want to... Is there a thread you want to pull on? But so far, this is your only lead. Unless you guys want to do something else.
I'm going to look to Echo and say, Echo boy, my good friend, I think today is a good day for target practice. Come on down to the range with me. Let's see what we can.
Hell yeah.
Let's see if we can maybe just have some zen moments while we're down there. Nothing quite like a PKD shooting contest that kind of helps me feel better.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna challenge you on that. Let's have a shoot. Let's do some rolls. Let's do some. I want to challenge you on some target practice.
Before while he's rushing down to the thing, I'm going to leave in a thermal mug, something that I had brought knowing while Evie was doing her baseline test. Evie, you will whenever you get back to your desk, you will see in a thermal lined mug, with a little note on it that says, "We're your friends. You can trust us." and it just has G at the bottom, and the inside of it is a full-sized chocolate shake with whipped cream. From the place where we went to dinner that night, because I was like, I knew that you liked it, and he knows how shitty it is to get sold down the river, because I imagine he's probably had that happen once or twice.
Okay.
Then I will rush down, and I will draw my weapon, and I will take on the new buck.
Are the two of you, before we roll, are the two of you planning on getting any kind of specialties for this shift?
I probably will. I don't know what kind of specialties there are for gunplay, but
there is one that's called Killer. Lets you get better crits.
Okay.
5 promotion points for a specialty.
Promotion points?
5 promotion points for every
Yeah,
specialty.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I'm gonna beat him without anything. I got the stats for it. Let's do
Oh
this.
no, I meant like, do you
I'm
want
fresh
to?
out of the academy.
Because you're spending the shift. So if you want to buy one, now's your chance.
Yeah.
There's also one called Sniper. Gives you advantage to firearms for a single shot, at long range specifically.
I'll probably actually take that one, honestly, because having that one.
Sure.
So
They got 5 promotion points, so put it in.
And what was
for
it
you.
called?
Yep.
Sniper.
Oh, and what's the other one?
Killer. Gives you a chance for better critical damage. More deadly.
Yeah.
You know,
like one?
I might as well. I'm going for the whole. Yeah, I'm going for the non-investigative detective. I'm doing all the stuff that's not really firearms. That sounds great. So let me do that. I'm gonna spend 5
Killer.
promotion points. Yes, please.
Okay. So both of you are rolling. Both of you are rolling firearms. However, there is a disadvantage for the next roll. So whichever one of you has the worst firearms, you're gonna take that disadvantage. What's your firearms?
What's your
grades?
firearms?
You go first. I'm just gonna see.
I am at a B and a B.
So unfortunately, Echo,
I'm a
you are at a
BNC.
disadvantage. So Echo, you first.
No,
Firearms.
I'm not. I'm not at any disadvantage. I'm gonna walk up here, and I'm gonna. I got my bullets loaded. I'm gonna put my special one in, and
There are
I'm gonna
4
roll
plus
the
2s if you'd like to
disadvantage.
cancel the disadvantage.
You know what? No, I'm not gonna cancel a disadvantage.
Okay.
I'm gonna just roll straight up with the disadvantage.
Go
Because
for
that's
it.
how good I am.
1. Okay. George, regular roll. Oh wow. Didn't see that coming.
I'm gonna use my advantage, yeah. And you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna test something.
You can just
here
push
really
it
quick.
first, and then use the advantage to,
Right.
remove the stress
I
if you
can
get
do
any.
that. That's right. Yeah.
or just use the advantage now since you don't get anything. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay.
All for a shooting contest. 1 to
There we
1.
go.
That's 6 for Echo and 9 for George. So George beats your score by a small margin. You are close to center. He is dead center.
I'm looking for something on my desk I can crush in anger.
You're not. A beer
So-
can.
You're upset about the results of a test. However, there are 2 of you that have to do something a little less joyful. The guy is still in a hospital bed inside the LAPD's infirmary ward. He's been awakened and restrained for obvious reasons, chained to the bed and leather straps sort of wrap around his forearms to make sure he doesn't do anything. The doctor goes to you and says, "So we got him awake. He's not a talkative type. We tried to get him to eat. He won't take anything. He tried to strangle one of the nurses, so we had to restrain him to the bed. All yours. Right? Ray of sunshine, this one."
God, give this fella here a smile, and I take the coffee cup that I have, and just like walk in next to the replicant and get a good look at him.
He's looking around. You're not getting away with this.
I put my coffee cup on the table next to, you know, like it's probably not close, but you know, if there's a platform, I put it on there, and I say, "How about some coffee first?"
I'm getting out of here. You won't get away with this.
Between you and I, this will go a lot quicker if you just give me my answers. Take this cup of coffee, and if it doesn't go well, you know how it goes. Retirement order.
He's
Also,
tied
we
to the
can
bed.
prolong. Oh,
Yeah, go
we
on.
can prolong your retirement as much as we want. It's very fortunate that you're in a hospital right now. So, think very carefully before you decide whether you want to cooperate with us.
First roll here. No more disadvantages. But both of you can roll, or one of you can help the other.
I just want to say, damn, Evie. I just got chills when you said that. That was awesome.
You
Stone
need-
cold.
You need to roll an insight just generally on him. Again, you can both roll individually,
Okay.
or one of you can help the other with an advantage.
What do you think?
What do you
Nolan?
think? I got
have
a
an A and a
B,
B.
and you're gonna be a lot better with the insight there.
Okay.
So I'm probably more focused on the fact that, you know, I'm trying to approach this guy from the human standpoint, and you're over here being the replicant, just being
Yeah.
straight cold.
Good cop, bad cop, baby.
Great.
Exactly.
So, Evie, insight with advantage, because we haven't gotten to the good cop connections yet. What was that? Oh, there's no stress for that, only if you push. That only applies if you push, so...
Yeah.
Something's wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not entirely aware of where he is. You're talking to him and you're offering him coffee and you're trying to tell him that he might be able to live a little longer. But he's looking around like this place is a war zone. He's not registering exactly what you're saying.
I kind of like step back and relay that quietly in LT's ears. Like he might be in a memory, or what he thinks is a memory at the moment.
There's one of.
He's gonna yell out
here. Sorry.
when you guys speak. He's gonna yell out, "The rest of my squad is coming for you. You're going down!" And he's just rattling it, talking about a squad.
I forget, did we find out, like, we know that he is or was a soldier off-world.
I'll assume Lance shared the information before your ship, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a soldier.
Do we know where?
In Calantha, it's an off-world planet where the major war happened. Most Nexus 8s were part of that war. Or drafted into it, whether willingly or not.
Gotcha. Do we know if any of his, like, actual squad is still alive?
Him?
So from the records, it was 2 guys. It was him and the other guy who were performing the surgeries, and the rest of the squad is dead. These 2 went AWOL.
Okay. Okay. I think Evie will say, I'm sorry, but your squad is dead.
He looks to you. You're lying.
Look at my
Trying to
face.
get in my head.
Do I look like I'm lying to you?
Manipulation. What did you get? Oh wow. Okay.
A success then.
Increasingly more
Roll these
terrifying.
ones.
He takes a breath. Too late. We're too late. He relaxes, but he
planet
also
you're
looks
on?
lethargic.
Okay.
He looks at your question. I'll take a stab and save him. I'm then brought back to Earth, and you're gonna send me back to Wallace.
That is correct. But first, we have some questions about the hospital bombing that you and your partner were responsible for,
Hospital.
or attempted bombing.
And bombed the hospital.
And bomb the hospital. What do you recall? What day is it? I pick up my coffee cup again.
I don't know. 22? 23?
I look at Evie.
You just pulled me off Galanfa, right? You're sending me back to Wallace because of what I know?
What do you know?
Ooh. You now get to roll your manipulation.
Awesome. Wish me luck, everybody. I'm gonna take one of those +2s if we got it.
There's
'cause,
4 more,
I
so...
have a.
However,
Do
you also have a disadvantage from... I believe someone gave you a negative. No, never mind. Sorry, it's a negative for anyone except Evie, so yeah, you do have a negative from Bookish Wyvern.
Okay.
So it's a straight roll for one of those +2s. There's 4 of them floating.
Oh my gosh.
So then I would just be a straight roll.
A normal roll,
if you
yes.
had a -2. Yep. Awesome. So, I think this is the first time I've actually been nervous to roll this dice. Wish me luck.
What? Sorry, what was
What a
that?
time for a music change.
Yeah, I forgot to play this. So, 1. Okay, great. First of all, what he's referencing is 2022 or 23 during the wars when Galanfa became a hellscape. Secondly, he looks to you and he says that Wallace is planning on a mass-scale genocide of us. You're gonna wipe us out.
The Nexus 8s.
What else?
You mean humanity?
No, he means like, what else? Of course, the Nexus 8.
Oh, what else? Oh, sorry, I heard everyone else. I was like, what?
We found
Mass
that out.
genocide, huh?
Look. What, are you two not from Wallace? The hell's going on here?
Oh, we're from Wallace, alright.
But, your dates are a little mixed up.
The hell are you talking about? 2040.
2040. Yeah. We're in the year 2040 currently. The Nexus 8s are no longer the up-to-date models from Wallace. There are now Nexus 9s, like myself.
Can't be right.
Should have had that copy when I told you.
What the fuck? You're lying.
We're not.
He
Do you
leans his
remember
head back.
anything from the last 48 hours? Think really hard.
Infiltration mission. Took down a terrorist cell in Calandra. Got injured in the chase. I'm here.
What exactly was your mission again?
Bombs. A terrorist cell in Sector 9. Kidnapped some of their people, drugged them. Planted them with explosives and sent them back there to destroy the cell from the inside. The Lance and Evie, when you guys read through the file, I'm assuming you did, this is word for word and one of their last missions of this squad. It went right, but also went wrong. And a number of their squad got caught in the explosion. This is the reason they're the only survivors.
Hey.
The details of that mission are classified. So you don't know the full scope, you just know that something went wrong with that mission. And the explosion happened, and they were the only survivors. Him and his replicant friend, the dead one, were the ones pulling the trigger and monitoring everything. Or triggering the bomb, so to speak.
Okay. After, he's spilling his beans and, just sipping on my coffee, I'm thinking to myself, we're not even sure what model he is.
Oh, he's a Nexus 8 on his file.
Okay, perfect. Exactly Nexus 8. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the question is, does his picture on his military ID match the
A little older now.
match him?
But yeah. Significantly older.
Hmm.
Do we
And
think that
cryos.
Oh, go for it.
Well, there is
cryostasis is
cryo.
still a thing.
There is, but if they used it, he wouldn't have aged. He does definitely look older. The years have caught up on his face. And the Nexus 8s were the first model that age like humans, that have a normal human lifespan.
Is it maybe possible that both him and the guy that we found in the van, his partner, is it possible that they just went back into their memories and thought that they were doing that same op to the hospital? They were just so confused.
Possible.
Or that someone put them in that state?
Probably the same guy who fucked up that other guy. I can't recall his name right now, but
Red? Or the one
Red.
who fucked up Red?
Yeah, that guy. Cause I look at Evie, like you can see the bags on my eyes.
Yeah.
Coffee's clearly not helping me. And it's like, yeah, Red. That doesn't mean. I mean, Would knowing if the Nexus 8 or like are there any like, because it sounds like post-traumatic stress PTSD really bad, actually CTPTSD, CPTSD, because it sounds like that. I'm thinking maybe something definitely happened. They triggered a set of emotional responses that led them to repeat, like this, like just like you said, but based on something emotional. So
He does look unaware. Like, no matter what you're saying to him, he does not seem to comprehend that it's now 2040. He fully thinks he's still back there.
If that is the case, though, did he kill the doctor? Like the field medic one who was on his squad? And if he did, then why?
The files are classified. You don't know what happened in that mission. But they both lived through it. On that mission, you know they both lived through it. So right now, he doesn't seem to have any indication of knowing what to say right now.
what was his the other cadaver's name?
His friend?
Yes.
Colloquially called Pete.
Pete.
Model PD.
Model PD.
Rattle,
Nice.
Rattle, this one is Jack.
Okay.
Well, Jack, we
Force
found
plus
old
2
Pete.
is up thanks to Silver Phantom, for anyone who wants to use it.
Thank you, Silver Phantom. Well, we found old Pete dead in a van.
What?
Wow. I didn't find him. But
I was one of the ones that found him.
as
No, that
we
can't-
found him,
Oh,
you were
Easy.
running away.
he's starting to have a headache. Oh, fuck. Ah.
And then
What's
coffee's still an option.
What's wrong with me? What's going on? His head started to spin a bit. And one of the doctors comes in. Okay, detectives, he's having a seizure at the moment. Or similar. Someone's done something to his head. And not... He looks at Evie not in the usual replicant way. In a brain surgery via electrical shock therapy way. Someone's messed with his head. And now the effects are starting to haunt him. I don't think you're gonna get much out of him right now. We need to put him back under and study the whatever damage was done. He looks at Lance like, still your call.
Give the men a break.
He,
And just
the
pat his
doctor
shoulder,
looks.
the guy's shoulder.
Oh, hurts. Why? Stop! Stop! He just starts yelling.
I begin to walk out and just kind of like look at Evie and say, "Coming?"
Like seeing him like that, like stuck in his memories.
Yeah.
Obviously, she really is feeling for him in that moment, and is like kind of brought back to last night, and she kind of like pauses for a moment and like doesn't hear Lance at first, and then like shakes herself out of it. She walks out of the room next to him. She like says under her breath, and we should probably talk about what happened last night now.
I don't think right now is a good idea. As I look around again with the doctors and the other detectives moving around.
Yeah, similar, but
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the hallway that leads down into the gun range on the same corridor as that leads into the interrogation rooms?
No, that will be on different floors.
Okay, gotcha. Never mind.
If you guys would like to gather now for your second shift.
I
Yeah.
did
Oh.
want to have a one-on-one
One-on-one?
with Lance specifically.
Yeah.
Then you can use your second shift to separate further.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
actually, no. You only interrogate him.
guess
If you want to
just,
use the tail end of this,
Yeah, exactly.
if you want to use the tail end of this, you can't afford to travel anywhere far. You can go like on an alley
Okay.
in the streets.
Yeah.
But the travel is what triggers your next shift, if ever you do
Okay.
decide to do that. So if you want to go
Yeah.
outside the LAPD while Lance can have a smoke break for this shift, so it's not wasted because it's once per shift.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I was
You
gonna
guys,
say.
you guys could head over to Sunken Sonuts. That's right across the street from the PD,
So,
where I always get my donuts and my coffee.
Lance, you can take 1 point of stress back since you're gonna have a bit of a break, and Evie, you guys can speak within the first shift. Just as long as you're not
Okay.
going anywhere far, you can go to an
Yeah.
back alley.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you talk about?
Coffee cup in hand, take a sip. Oh, Evie, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm a little tired. I'm having a hard time keeping awake here because stayed awake. Got this new eye implanted, but heard you went in with clothing and had different clothing on, and what's that all about?
So, last night at Stone's house, I got, I guess, some sort of deja vu. Like, I'd been there before. And I got really freaked out and left, and it just kept happening. I would go past houses that I knew and had, from what I was getting, the memories that I had was from the person who maybe helped build them. They were a Wallace employee, but from a long time ago, and it stopped once I left George's neighborhood. I was walking and it was raining, and this really nice girl offered me a clean change of clothes, so I went into the house with her and got dry clothes and then got my spinner and left. So that's why I had different clothes. I don't know. I know that Echo is not necessarily super comfortable with replicants, and George has close ties with Wallace, though I know that he's not necessarily loyal to them, but he is close. And so I've noticed that you don't necessarily extremely follow protocol, so I felt more safe telling you this than everyone else.
As you're like communicating all this to me, I just take another sip of the coffee and just smoke. And I'll offer you a smoke as well at the very end of your sentence. And
I may as well at this point. God. never seen Evie smoke before. She's never smoked.
This is better than sugar.
Virgin lungs.
and then get that lit up for you, and then just kind of after a little bit, we just kind of puff on mine, and just in a little bit of silence, and I just kind of look at you, like, sounds like you need a hug.
Yeah, kind of.
But,
She'll just like hug Lance.
But I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, Lance is, I'm a good guy, and the old Stone over there, I know he's good. I mean, yeah, we may have had our differences at the beginning, but I know I can count on him. And I know he won't do anything dumb. I won't. I mean, but our newest fella, Echo. I think you're in the clear with all three all three of us. As long as you keep your head straight and now, I mean, there I do have a threshold that I don't know what that threshold is, but if we get there, I'll let you know.
And I don't want to go rogue. I just became I just got, I don't know, awoken, whatever the word is, since I wasn't born. I don't want to end up like Red. I don't want to end up like that guy that we just interrogated, Jack.
Now those guys are a special case. Somebody messed with their heads. Somebody went deep into the recesses of the mind where somebody shouldn't go. And now, you and I, we may be different, but we operate the same. Neurons firing. Synaptic burnout, all that sort of thing. Same operation.
I mean, someone may have not purposefully messed with my head in the way that those guys did, but someone definitely put real memories in my head. Just something that you're not supposed to do.
I know that. But, kind of shake my head and just kind of take a sip of my coffee. I call my spinner at this point. That way it's ready, and however close it is, go ahead.
Just get this out of the way. Evie and Lance, you will each gain 1 point of humanity for the connection and trust and general vulnerability for Evie. However, Lance, before you take that humanity, I will ask, everything said to you right now demands a recalibration of this replicant. Do you report it?
No. I'm outside the office. I'm going home for the day. This didn't happen.
Then instead, you may add 2 points of humanity rather than 1. 1 for listening, and the other for not reporting and having this replicant recalibrated. With that spinner coming, you are going to spend the next shift sleeping. You're going to be out of commission.
Yes, sir.
And that'll be Evie, George, and Echo left. Now, because this is dramatically appropriate, when Lance leaves and finally goes home, Evie, you can return back knowing you have the confidence of your lieutenant. When you guys gather, the 3 of you gather, before you can even say a word to each other, an alarm starts sounding in the infirmary. And the doctors, or one of the nurses, goes up to you and goes right to Evie, because you were the one interrogating. Says, "Detective, you have to come with us."
All right. I'll
and George and Echo are here, so they can follow.
They're there. Okay.
Yeah. He's addressing you because you were the one interrogating him. And while you're running towards the infirmary, the nurse is shaking, running. And he says, "Something is wrong. Someone's altered his biodata. We're trying to save him." She looks to you, Evie.
Mm-hmm.
Their biodata's been tampered with recently. There's it's like a ticker for their life. Their cells are shutting down, their organs are shutting down, every part of their body is shutting down one by one. We're trying to stop it right now, but she's panicking. She doesn't know what to say, but you understand the gist.
Yeah.
This is different from what Nexus 6 has had. Nexus 6 has just had a defined lifespan. the way she's describing it, this is more like a bomb. Like, not a literal bomb, but like something to shut down in an instant.
Can you tell how long ago he was altered?
Best guess is a month ago. Oh, we're trying to do what we can, but everything's shutting down. We're trying to keep him alive. We don't know what to do. The doctor told me to inform all of you.
What was the name again of the guy? Because we caught him, the one who was messing with Red and messing with and creating the Nexus 6s.
Didn't catch him. Lance shot him in the head.
Lance shot him in the head.
No.
That's
No, I took him over to Wallace.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, never
That's
mind.
what I thought.
That's
Okay.
even.
I
You sent him to
shot
Wallace.
Red in the head.
Yeah.
Red was
shot
shot in the
Red
head.
in the head.
You sent him to Wallace, which is basically good as dead. Andrew Simmons.
Yeah. Andrew Simmons. Okay, so he's as good as dead?
Depends what you think Wallace would do to him,
Yeah.
given everything he's done. And the fact that Wallace wanted to keep this out of the media's eye. But when you guys eventually get to the hospital wing, you look outside the window, obviously not allowed inside. They're pumping him with drugs, they're trying to keep him alive, they're doing whatever they can to stimulate him, but eventually when you arrive, you just see the flatline. And the in-house doctor calls for the time of death. That will be where we take our short break. So, everyone, stay right here. We will be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere, and let's see what happens next to our Blade Runners without their lieutenant, who now needs to take a break.
The Shade Brigade will return.
So, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. And we are back where we left off
Hi,
here
everyone.
after break. And welcome to the Raiders, by the way. Where we left off here after break, the three of you, because your lieutenant has decided to take a break, have realized that Jack, your one Nexus 8 here that you interrogated, has had like a ticking genetic bomb that is just triggered, and his body has just shut down. The flat line has been declared, and the doctor has called the time of death. So, what would the three of you like to do with your second shift now, given that your lieutenant has gone to sleep? What's the new plan?
George will probably look to Evie and say, "So Evie, what did you learn from Jack in there, from the rep in there that before he passed?"
He had no memory of what he did, or at least not completely. It was like he was reliving his last mission back in Calantha when he lost most of his squad. They were trying to suss out a terrorist group, and they kidnapped a bunch of them, drugged them, put bombs in them, and then exploded the building. But he had no idea what year it was. He thought that it was still in the 2020s, and that Nexus 8s were the most recent models, and he didn't quite even understand where he was.
Do you know if the doctor they managed to collect an incept date for this one?
Is that like
That's basically their birth date.
their birth date?
Their birth date.
Wouldn't we have known that from his file?
Yeah, he was created.
Okay, we wouldn't know that.
He was one of the first batches of Nexus 8s.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Apparently his mind had been messed with as recently as a month ago, and they must have put something in there that seemed like there was recent brain surgery.
Okay.
Which makes me think of one person that we have met, or that we know of, that was messing with replicants.
Yeah.
I don't know if what Wallace has done with him. If we can maybe still talk to him, see if he had something to do with this, or if there just happens to be somebody else who's doing similar things, which I doubt.
I'm starting to get a picture in my head of some toy soldier bullshit.
Excuse me, detectives. The doctor comes out. He's looking for Lance, but then he sees Evie. Detective, while you were interrogating him, we did pull up a few things from his biodata we found out. We realized too late that it's been altered with whoever did it is an expert. He hands you the files, but we did find something useful that I think you might be interested in. He has recently had his memories erased. I don't mean his implants, I mean his real memories, particularly of everything beyond his last job on Calantha. We have traces of neurons here that aren't matching up. It has evidence of a memory wipe, similar to how replicants are recalibrated. But in this instance, it was a very targeted erasure rather than a full recalibration. After that, we don't know for sure yet. We're still investigating the body. However, we suspect that the alterations to his brain were done after the memories were removed. I'll give you the files. Would you like us
Doc?
to perform a full autopsy? This will
I would
not
say
cost
so.
you a promotion point.
Okay.
Because it happened on their watch in VLAPD. This is basically on their plate now.
Okay. Yeah, I think an autopsy would be a good idea. Do we know if we also got an autopsy from the body that
Yeah,
we found? The doctor
they
who
were doing
did?
that on the
Okay.
first shift. They're basically on the same boat.
Okay.
But they still
Okay.
don't know who shot him. The bullet does not match the PKD that Jack had. The bullet that killed Pete.
Interesting.
So it's a different weapon.
Okay. Yeah.
He hands you the files.
Hey Doc,
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
And I'm forgive me, but this might sound kind of like a dullard's question, but is it possible to fake an incept date?
On paper, yes. From genetic data, no. It's
According to his genetic data, can you do me a favor and double check, like, just humor me and double check to make sure that there isn't any funny business going on with that incept date? I got a hunch, but I don't want to follow anything up until I got something more concrete.
Lieutenant Rogers asked us to do that the previous evening. We checked his DNA and his biomarkers. He is as the model reports.
Okay. Well, that rules that out. Okay.
The only thing that was modified with him is his bio data, specifically regarding an expiration date that shouldn't be there for the Nexus 8 of his model. It was implanted, our best guess is about a month ago.
Okay. And there were no externally inserted devices of any kind?
No, but his brain
Physical.
does show physical wear and tear, likely from intense recalibration and what I can only assume is some form of electroshock therapy.
Almost like this had happened multiple times before?
Like it happened multiple times over the last month.
Okay.
We can do a full autopsy to get as much information as we can from his corpse now. We're doing the same with his
Okay.
partner. We're gonna see if anything
Gotcha.
matches between the two of them. These are the
Hit
files
us
we
up
already
on
have.
Thank you. Hit us up on the KIA whenever you get those details. And I'm gonna look to you, Evie, and I'm gonna say, Evie, do you feel like trying Chinese for the first time? And he'll wink at you.
Doctor just leaves.
Like not like a happy wink, but like winking as if saying, "Let's get the fuck out of the office. Let's get the fuck out of the office."
Okay, then yeah, sorry. I thought you were just like, let's get lunch. And like, I want to get to work.
No.
Okay, yeah.
He knows people are listening, and he does not want people
Okay.
listening.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah, Chinese.
Sounds good. Okay. Echo, can you do me a favor and go and pick up the four-seater from the garage? I figure you're the best to drive, and you might as well do it. We're gonna head to Hong's Noodle Shop over by the house.
Yeah, I'll grab a spinner. It's been nice and cleaned.
Yeah.
Brand new out of the lot.
Okay.
So, two of you leave. Echo's getting the spinner. This is your second shift.
Mm-hmm.
What's the plan?
George will legitimately take you back to your desk, and seeing that the thermal thing is kind of pooling water on the
Yeah.
desk, he's like, "Please just go ahead and try some of this before it all melts, and I have to throw it away."
Yeah, fine. So it's not as good as it was.
And and that's the scary thing. It's still better than like 90% of the milkshakes you could possibly imagine.
Which is now 2 milkshakes.
3 actually.
That I've had.
You had a strawberry one, a chocolate
That's right.
one, and you're
right.
having you're having a German chocolate one now because they were out of the milk chocolate. And it's chocolate with a little bit of coconut and some other things mixed in. But no, he'll just kind of, he won't really care about what you think of the food, what you think of the drink. He'll just be like, we got your back, right?
I want to believe that. I do. Maybe for now, as much as I appreciate it, I don't know if I need to be more human at this point. So maybe with the climatizing, I think I need to focus on what we're doing here and not all of this new stuff.
George will physically take off his sunglasses, fold them up, put them into his pocket, and say, all right. He will pick up the milkshake and say, I'll meet you in the car. And he will walk out. And now I'm going to put my shades back on because it's fucking bright. It's fucking bright as shit. And Echo has a floof.
Oh.
Little cat. I'm not giving advantage for a cat, but you still have a cat.
The floof has made several appearances this session.
Okay. So, with your second
There's
shift,
snacks on the table.
and by the way, the next roll gets some negative because of Visible Junkie. I guess a disadvantage. Well, it wasn't declared, it's been old, so this means that this can potentially apply to Evie. Now, your second shift, what would you like to do? Not much leads that you have at the moment.
Is it, George? Is it even worth doing the background checks on those vehicles?
Oh, that would have been done when you brought it in, but the vehicles were stolen. The van, it was stolen.
Vehicles stolen.
I would like to spend a shift just having a team meeting of the people who are present and basically going over, kind of really collaborating, like, what do you guys think? Like, coming up with theory, like just kind of spitballing and doing kind of a thing so we can have an idea, so we're not just shooting in the dark.
Okay.
Also, we have, like, just for brevity's sake, if we are in a secure location, I will tell both Echo and George what happened the other night.
Yeah.
It's your second shift, so you should be able to find a place that is as secure as you're gonna get.
Okay.
Even an apartment, if you
for
like.
as much as CCTV there is.
Yeah. There's that's why he chose Hong's Noodle Shop, is because it specifically is in a blind spot of the current CCT and surveillance network.
Okay. So
yeah, and then during the conversation of, like, me letting everyone know, at the end, Evie will give George a look like, hopefully you understand now why I'm pushing to be more replicant and less human. This is really intense. Like, just sort of like I'm sorry sort of look.
This is important because you are telling them, which means now Echo and George have the same question that I asked Lan. You are, by protocol and by law, required to send her for recalibration, or at least recommend an important baseline test. This is the book, this is your training, this is not allowed, and you are breaking that protocol if you do not.
But no, I don't think she told us. I don't believe she told. Did you tell us? You told us everything?
Saying. I'm literally telling you everything. But I'm just saving time, like, for brevity's sake.
But she's
so
telling you the memories and everything, yes?
Yeah.
I'm telling you everything.
So,
I gotcha.
By protocol, you need to inform not just the LAPD, but Wallace, who is in charge of the recalibration. Will you?
You said you had my back.
George will look to Echo, and using his neural import, but not using his physical KIA, using his neural port, he will mentally send you a message on your KIA, Echo, and it will simply say, "You do not report this. I may not be VLT, but I am your senior commanding officer. I will take the heat for this if it comes up. But you do not report this. She is our friend, and she is our teammate. She is trusting us. And people, when teams don't trust each other, people die."
So it's
I'm
sent
gonna
to your
take that message
KIA.
and
Will you open your
yeah, I'm gonna
KIA in
take
front
that
of this
message.
meeting? Because you do not have the benefit of seeing it through your eye. You have to open the KIA when you receive a message. The question is, do you open a message in the middle of this heavy conversation?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna open it, and I'm just gonna be.
Yeah.
As I'm reading it, it's not gonna change my opinion too much. What I'm gonna say is out loud is, the first thing I'm gonna do is, as I'm looking at it, actually I'm gonna say this while I'm reading it because it's not really affecting what I'm saying. I'm gonna say, hey, as far as I see it, and the way things are going with this team, I think reporting what happens during a case is important. What happens off the case is off the case. And what you're going through here, if we can heal it, if we can figure it out, it'll be behind us.
Well said.
And that is
Thank
a
you.
point of
I'm also,
humanity.
while I'm doing that, I'm gonna swipe on my, I'm gonna swipe on my KIA to throw that email that he sent me into a secured folder.
Great. So Echo and George take 1 point of humanity for not turning in your
Okay.
replicant.
Yes.
And Evie take another point because these are two, like you said earlier, you're not too sure. One of them is by the book, the other one's connected to Wallace. This was a risk for you, so take that humanity point as well for Evie.
And I will say that as we're all just sitting here, this isn't the kind of place where you order something. This is the kind of place where when you come in during the lunch special, which is where we're at, they only serve the lunch special, which is really nice synth noodles with garlic butter and soy and Szechuan soy sauce, a tiny little thing of synth barbecue pork, small little thing of synth barbecue pork, and the fakest of fake yellow mustard you could possibly imagine. Like hot spicy mustard, and that's it for all three of us.
So, to be clear, the three of you want to spend this shift debating on a new lead. Basically, back and forth, coming up with a new lead.
A working lunch.
Yeah,
Sure.
a working lunch.
Yeah.
I do think that I will put out feelers to any contacts at Wallace that I currently have to see what's going on with Andrew Simmons.
Okay, so to do that, because Wallace is not LAPD, you need to use your... Ordinarily, you would use your Chinian to bribe them. However, because of your unique position as their replicant Blade Runner, you have the option to use promotion points for that. Exemplary service.
I will use the Chinian because I just got a Chinian before session.
So spend that and roll your connections. The other two, I would like you each to roll insight, and let's see how many you can get for the information you're looking for.
Push it.
I'm gonna push. Oh, that was supposed to be a disadvantage too. I forgot.
I can go first.
Well, at disadvantage, that's
I'll
just...
with a disadvantage.
At disadvantage, that's just the D12. So you don't actually get the unicorn, it's to your benefit.
Oh, okay. Wait, what did I roll? So I just rolled a 2.
You can push it.
I can push it?
And then just ignore the stress that comes out of it, because you're not supposed to have that anyway. But, okay, so you can...
I did get a success.
You can take back the stress it gave you, because we're ignoring that one.
Gotcha.
Because of the disadvantage, but that's the disadvantage, which again, thanks to Miserable Junkie, goes back to Evie.
4
On
out
the
of
other
6.
hand-
Let's see if I can I can collect them all.
4 plus 2s are still floating out there. George and Echo. Okay, so the connections. We'll take the shift. So since you guys are only debating things, George and Echo. Between the two of you, there's a very high likelihood that Andrew Simmons is no longer with us. That's just the reality of Wallace. The two of you are more than aware of how they operate. However, you can also, when you start going over the case files, you can also identify that Andrew Simmons is not a neurosurgeon. He's a memory implant expert. Memory implantations are different from the recalibrations that are done to replicants. They're what you do after you recalibrate them to mold their personality. And implanting memories.
He's a patsy. He's a patsy that they tried to pin it on.
Implanting memories is more of you're editing them. It's digital. You're editing them and then you put them through a machine. It's not. It doesn't have any specialty regarding brain chemistry. So he likely does not have the expertise for it. Later we'll have information from Evie on what she gets, but for now, for the two of you, you will recall that, especially for Echo, the last time you went to Anders with Lieutenant Rogers, he mentioned something about a doctor ordering the bone saw that was stolen. A doctor ordered the bone saw. That bone saw was used to do the first crimes, the serial killing. He mentioned a doctor ordered it. And it was just the assumption that it was stolen because the doctor had nothing to do with those murders. That kind of bone saw indicates the level of surgical knowledge potentially necessary to do anything on the brain. However, again, it doesn't guarantee that just because you're a surgeon, you're a neurosurgeon. And once again, the use of a physical surgery wasn't done. They didn't find any marks on the head indicating his brain's been cut open. They used electric shocks in rhythmic patterns. However, if you're looking for leads without really much else to go on, you never did pull on that thread, especially for Echo, who's been curious about that first case. You never really did pull on that thread. And surgery like this could only be done in a high-grade hospital, which obviously the hospitals didn't. So maybe it's still worth checking with Anders if anyone has bought this kind of equipment to do this kind of thing. Because clearly he sells run-off medical supplies. Maybe he sold some form of electrical tool that's designed to do this sort of thing. Maybe he knows someone who did, but either way, the one lead that you can connect is potentially Anders might know something that would be helpful, and he's been helpful before. As now for Evie, when you threw out your feelers and connections in Wallace, again, exemplary performance. So they reward you with some information. They do not deal in brain surgery or brain alterations anymore beyond recalibrations, which is done in the laboratory, the memory labs, just outside of the Los Angeles border in that frozen wasteland. You can go there if you like, but other than that, there is no other facility in Wallace that is capable of altering brain waves in that manner. You can, however, they would give you access or clearance to go there and ask them to analyze whatever damage was done to the brain. Because if you recall, you had forensics being handled in this shift. So if you'd like, they gave you clearance to go there and have them look at what happened or what exactly was done. Because they have a specialty in that the LAPD does not. That's the alternative. Yes?
Can I have said that there was one thing that I had forgotten that I wanted to put in as a feeler thing to try and do during the lunch? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So keeping in line with the idea of the toy soldiers theory, I would have put in a message or a call to my handler,
Simons?
to Walton Simons, and been like, hey, we're dealing with some stuff down here. I need you to dredge up any and all information that we can get our hands on classified projects involving Nexus 8s, dealing with, and he'll kind of stumble for a moment to the point where Walton's probably like, are you still there? And I'm like, the best way I can describe this is Manchurian Candidate. And he'd be like, that's an old fucking book. And I'm like, yeah, it was an even weirder
Yeah.
movie.
So you will spend a Chinian, but he will respond with, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, boss.
You'll
And
spend a
do me a
Chinian.
favor and try and keep it on the down low if you can.
You've never worked for Wallace. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
Okay.
I said try, not succeed.
Then the additional information after this shift is from him.
Mhm.
All the records are sealed. However, he was able to find something, or more likely a lack of something. There is no mind control or anything of the sort regarding the Nexus 8. What there is mostly why they've been supporting the Blade Runner unit. They want all the Nexus 8s gone. That's why a Nexus 8 is typically kill on sight. The exception is if you have an interrogation ongoing, or you need information. That being said, Wallace has become increasingly aware and slightly concerned about the presence of the replicant freedom movement, which are mostly founded by ex-Nexus 8 Calantha soldiers, according to Wallace's database. And they are composed of replicant sympathizers and Nexus 8 war veterans, as well as other Nexus 8s who are not... They're not soldiers, they're like the carpenters. The Nexus 8s were made to be slave labor, essentially. Like, they do all the menial tasks you don't want to do.
They were essentially the updated version of the Nexus 6s for the same purpose.
Yep, but they are living human lifespans, and they were supposed to be the most human before the Nexus 9s, which means ideologies get in the way. But the idea is that Wallace doesn't seem to know anything. However, they are concerned about this replicant freedom movement more so than they're willing to let on, to the media at least. So that gives you the vein of trying to find members of this movement, and maybe they have answers. But as far as Wallace is concerned, they don't have any projects other than trying to eliminate the Nexus 8.
I got you. I will share this. I'll share this with the party.
Okay.
The message goes off in my eye, but obviously I'm asleep still.
Yeah. But it is now the third shift after you guys have done all of this, which means Lieutenant Rogers can now join you once more. Finally gotten some actual sleep. Where would you like to meet? Or if you discuss this over KIA and what you know, how do you divide and what do you do?
I think pursuing that Anders thing would be nice. If Lance, if you want to join me.
Yeah, I'll accompany you. I feel like I'm refreshed. I'm about to take another smoke break. I mean, I'm just smoking in your spinner, and
So how does
Lance,
how does this guy work? He's like go ahead.
Sorry, one thing. Lance, do gain a point of stress back, or regain a point of stress because you took your downtime. Go on, Echo.
Hell yeah. So how does this Anders guy work? You guys give him some weapons or give him some tools, and he gives you guys information. Can we? Do we have any guns left over from that warehouse?
like we do. Yeah, we don't we? We got them in old George's spinner.
You don't.
I'm thinking we get this guy.
Do we
walk in-
meet up beforehand?
You guys would like to. You have the opportunity to gather together first.
Would you guys have met up with George and Evie before you guys took off?
We
I
could do a
believe
group
so.
phone
Yeah,
call.
I mean, like, yeah, or I mean, so
The three of you together,
to
Lance
fill
can
in
go
just
to
a
you.
little-
Yeah.
yeah.
George will probably look to you, LT, and take out of his pocket under his coat a wad of chinion, and just like hand you like half of the wad and say, "Trying to get some body armor for the four of us if you've got pretty good connections. Try and get us some body armor while you're there, and if you can find any decent ammo, like specialty ammo, that might be a good idea. Figure we might as well knock out a couple of birds with one stone, you know? And I'll hand you 2 chinion."
I look
Uh,
at George.
Add 2 for Lance, take 2 out for George.
I look at George and say, "Now, body armor, ammo. What? I mean, what? I mean, I went to bed. What happened? What are we getting into?"
We might be having to investigate the and stare down a couple of barrels with the freedom movement.
All right. I mean,
It never hurts to have this stuff, and frankly, I don't want to have to put it on the books. It's better safe than sorry, you know?
Any of that body armor cover the back of the head?
I mean, generally Andes keeps helmets in the back. He generally throws them in with the stuff, as far as I can tell.
so but yeah, before we head out, Echo, I feel like I should go down to our old contact here, our fella who can get illicit gear off the books.
Anders.
That's his name?
Well, we
Excellent.
gotta talk to him.
I wasn't 100%
Yeah,
sure.
Well, the issue is, we were having lunch, and we were talking about the bone saw, talking about the equipment. Apparently, this whatever. The guy you interviewed, you're gonna look through the reports. The guy you interviewed, he's gone. He pretty much exploded on the table. Some kind of a biological clock, something triggered. They're looking at him now. They're opening him up. We'll get some answers later, but you're not getting any more answers out of him specifically. But it looks like he might have been modified. His memories, they opened up his brain. They did some stuff in there, maybe. I don't know. I was listening to it. It's all above my intelligence. But the one thing is we're looking for is any kind of equipment that could have been doing brain surgeries, tools, something to hacking brains. And that kind of equipment is expensive and rare, is what they tell me. And Anders might be the guy who's doing this. He's connected again and again with the prior case. And maybe he did something with this case. So I think the plan is right now, we're going to roll over there, talk to him. And I'm thinking we got the stuff here for the bribery, but I think the cherry on top is going to be telling him that at the moment his name is being brought up in multiple conversations in regards to replicant terrorism. And unless we get some answers, there's a lot of phone calls that we're not even going to be involved in where he's going to be mentioned.
Thank you for bringing
So
me up
threaten him
to
with that.
speed.
Threaten him with terrorist charges and a few other things, and see if we can get some answers out of him.
Now, I mean, you can't just go into this place and threaten someone. I mean, if you have full 100% confidence, it's time to prove it, and you could get.
Well, I mean, we don't actually have to bring him up. He's pretty valuable, but I think he needs to know that he's in over his head with a simple sale. He needs to be careful with that stuff, and when he's not careful, he needs to tell us about it. So I think scaring him this will be slightly enjoyable.
All right, and then I just kind of give Echo a wince, or I mean a nod and a little wink, kind of just like recalling to that time that we went there and how we totally caught this guy unaware.
Okay. So you want to... So you guys are going to Anders. What about Evie and George?
Well, George, as you know, I got in contact with some people from Wallace. They said that we can go over. I mean, it'd be a bit of a trek to get there, but the place where they recalibrate, they said that they
Memory
would
lab.
look at the bio. Yeah, that we can bring the bio data from
Okay.
Jack and Petey, and they would investigate.
Okay.
See if we can get any leads from there.
That sounds like a good lead. Do me a favor and you know the utility exit out by the loading bay?
Mm-hmm.
Meet me out there in 5.
Sure.
And then we'll take and George will very inconspicuously walk back to his desk. He will make sure that he has enough ammo and make sure he's got everything loaded up, put his coat on. He will walk out there, and as soon as you get there, you see that he's smoking the modern day equivalent of a clove, essentially, because he's not a smoker, but he does like cloves. And he's smoking a clove, and he's like, from what you told us, and I'm doing, and you see that there is, as you've entered, there is a tiny little piece of something that's on the thing, with a little thing that kind of has gone up with a red light on it, and he said, "You can never be too careful." What you described the night before, after my party, which I hope you enjoyed the meal at the very least.
Oh no, I did. All of the food that you brought me is incredible. I'm freaking out.
I understand. I'm not trying to aggravate that, but I am curious for my own sake, and for honestly the sake of my sister. Do you remember at all, if you don't mind my asking, and if you don't feel comfortable delving into this mentally, just let me know and I'll drop it. But do you remember when you mentioned that you saw in your memory somebody with a clipboard?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, or can you remember, what the name was on the clipboard? A company name, a client name, anything like that?
All you saw was a blueprint.
Was a blueprint, yeah.
Were there any markers, any markings, or anything like that on the blueprint that might have like tradesman's markings or anything like that you can remember, that you can describe to me?
No, it was just a general.
Nothing.
Blueprint is generous. It's
Nothing.
more like an architect's draft of what they want the house to be.
I know about those because my dad's a naval architect in real life, so I've seen.
Yeah,
I've
but
spent a lot
what
of
I'm
time
saying
around
that it's like the drawing on an A4 paper. Like it's not an
Okay.
official piece of paper. It's just the initial draft of what they think it would look like. However,
okay.
you did remember you
gotcha.
saw a weird and much older logo of Wallace on a lab coat.
Wallace. Okay.
So that's as much as you can tell.
Okay. George will look puzzled for a moment and say, "Thank you, Evie." Yeah, he will look to you and kind of explain that there's a reason why his house is at the very top of the hill. Back in the old days, before the city really got to where it is now, and the vertical integration methods were not as predominant, they would build from the top of the hill down. So my house was the first one that they made. I don't know if we were the first people to move in there. I want to think that we were, but I don't know for certain. But regardless, whoever's memories you have in your head, whether for an ill reason or just as a manner of flair that somebody put into you, I would like to know why you have the memories of seemingly a person who built a house, much less somebody who might have a sculpting idea in and of the houses in my family's complex. Because if for no other reason, then you may, without even realize it, know some of the secrets, like some of the secret things that we have in that house for defense in case something were to happen. And I can't have, and if I can prevent that, from becoming a security risk to my sister, that would be preferable. I want you to know this is in no way my not trusting you. In fact, it's the opposite. I trust you enough that I'm asking this as a friend, and as not so much as a colleague, but as a friend.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from and why you would want to protect your sister, so I don't take it personally at all. I'm wary of how much I should personally look into this, but
Yeah.
I'm willing to help you.
Just all I ask is that you mull it over. Mull it over. If anything comes up and you can think of anything, just let me know. Let me know if you could think of anything. Don't send it to me over the KIA though. Okay?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and if you ever need to talk to me in private, just come to my desk and say, or you could message me and say smoke break, and we'll come out here and we can talk. And my dear little friend, what was the term I was going to use? No whispers, Mr. Whispers here will keep us more or less safe. He taps on the little plastic thing by his thing.
I will.
Thank you. Shall we go and investigate the thing?
Yes.
Good. So, first, we take the first two pairing and head back to Anders's worst kept secret. An illegal weapons shop. Again, he's just taking a smoke behind the bulletproof glass and iron bars. And once you step in, welcome. Take a look at Blade Runners. Detective, you're back. Business or pleasure? Or sometimes they're both.
Both, actually.
What is on agenda today, Detective? What can Anders help you with?
Let's start off with the hard stuff. Mr. Echo here has a couple questions for you. I'll let him fill you in, and then I'll get to the good stuff.
Yeah, business or pleasure, you say? I gotta tell you, this is damn near political.
Messy. Okay, what Anders help you with?
He sold to a lot of people. We've been in here before. He sold to the wrong guy. He caused some problems. We didn't blame you none. The big problem now, though.
You recall I did not sell to guy. I sold to doctor who was stolen from. And I did not sell salt, if you recall.
Yeah, it's true enough. Having said that, though, it's still getting into the wrong hands. No matter what the chain says. The one thing I got to tell you about today, though, is that we got some reports. Your name keeps coming up. There was a terrorist attack that my lieutenant here prevented. It's not going to be in the news. It's not a big deal, but because nothing exploded, nobody died, but a lot of people almost did. A lot of real people.
And I can't take full credit for that one, because old George, Detective Stone Rat.
One moment, Detective. You saying I made bombs? I don't deal in bombs.
Oh, no. But you've been selling a lot of equipment, and some of that equipment we think might have gotten into the wrong hands again. And there might be some kind of chain here that you have some excuses on the way out, but the word terrorism is getting thrown around the office, and your name's in the folder. So I'm going to give you the details, and you're going to have to give us the details to follow up. Somebody's been cutting into replicant heads. I don't know if they're cutting into it with a blade. I don't know if they're cutting into it with a tool. If they're just hacking into it with something electronic, they're just hovering it over their head, and things are changing. But the equipment that we're talking about is expensive. It's rare, and it was gotten through channels that we don't have a connection with.
Roll your manipulation.
Fingers, not my fingers, keep pointing back to you.
Roll manipulation with advantage because you're being helped. You haven't bribed him yet, so but you do have advantage thanks to Lance being there. Perfect. He looks
nice.
Now, I have no intention or need to sell to unsavory people who would put hundreds of people in harm's way, maybe one or two. But that being said, first thing I can tell you, I don't deal in this kind of equipment. You see here, he points to if you gave him all the details, or at least the abridged details of what kind of equipment would have been used, because you have a general summary of what is needed to do what has been done. This is high-grade medical equipment. I cannot sell. Look at shop. Shop is small. I cannot store. Too expensive to store. Too high risk. No reward. Also very hard to come by. However, if this is equipment you are looking for, detectives, I know someone who might be able to help you. I have name for you.
Tell more.
He looks out through his files. Quinton Jennings. He's storage loader and pack rat for Wallace Corporation. They drives truck, unloads, loads where it goes. Sometimes things he load go missing. One time too many, things he load went missing too soon, too fast, lose job. However, when looking for specialty equipment, especially of large caliber, he is man you go to find ready-made, specially ordered, guarantees delivery in 3 weeks. He is man who knows how to steal large equipment and move them around in the streets. If anyone has this equipment off book, he know about it.
Good man. With that being said, good news. Right, I look over to Echo and say, well, now we're here for another reason too. I need some body armor. Maybe you have any specialty kind of ammo?
He looks at you and says, ammo has been the same since 2020s. No new ammo being sold, however. Body armor, we have standard issue. Police undershirt goes under your coat, very easy to hide. Little harder to move around in, but protects you from bullet. Otherwise, we have this, and he points to like a full police riot gear set of the helmet, the mask, full body armor covering the thighs and shins.
No, that might be a little excessive.
And the back of the head.
And the back of the head, because it's a full ballistic helmet. Note that the thing here is that police undershirts provide a little less protection, but they do provide protection, but they give you disadvantage in mobility and stealth when you wear them. The police heavy gear gives you disadvantage in a whole lot more than that. Mobility, observation, connection, manipulation, stealth, specifically, when you're wearing it. Mostly because you look like you're going to war.
Would that protect us in a bomb situation? It's not a bomb squad level.
It would help. Depending on the explosive, it would
I'm
help.
not feeling it. I'm
The
just gonna
undershirt
tell Lance,
specifically for
it seems a little
ballistics.
overkill. Seems a little overkill, but it's your call. You've been out here longer than I have.
Are you saying that to me, to Lance, or to the to Anders? Okay, excellent. Sorry. I look at you, Echo, and I just kind of chuckle and say, "That's just gonna be real excessive." I mean, we don't even know if there was. I mean, the bombs that were placed here. I mean, are being placed back onto those poor civilians, and I mean, they couldn't have just stopped at 24. Now, I don't really suspect that we'll need bomb squad armor, but we should probably keep bomb squad in the loop. That way, they can respond earlier than later. But let's just take the regular police shirts, undershirts.
Agreed.
Get a little bit of mobility and see if there's anything at this. I lost my train of thought.
Each armor is a Chinian. Just one.
Can we
How
trade
much?
those guns for it?
You want to trade those heavy weapons for him?
Well, we did this. We did loot some guns from the warehouse. I don't know. Other than that,
You can trade it or you can keep it.
Evie has. Yeah. We got the money, Lieutenant.
We got the money. All right. I got 2 Chinian over from George. I think
Two
we're
body
good.
armor?
Let's just get this. Just the body armor, I believe.
So just 2?
4.
Okay, so that's 4 Chinian. 1 each.
4 Chinian. So I got 2.
I'll assume you guys split this amongst each other. But
Yeah, well, I can do 1 Chinian point. That'll bring me down to 2.
and
And
I'm
then I
assuming you're
spent
gonna like split this amongst each other, so you can spend 2. George's 2 that's taken out. I'll put the body armor when it becomes relevant, just so you don't get disadvantage with the necessary rolls, because no one is wearing it yet, I presume. Since you just bought it.
No.
Okay. So that is what you get from him. However, it is still 1 shift. You can go straight to the guy that he was talking about, Quentin, if you want to.
I think so. I've kind of relayed this information over to the other 2. Hey, me and Echo, we're gonna go check out this other guy here. Y'all can come tag along if you want. Maybe check him out. But we got some body armor.
They're gonna be in the memory lab for a bit, because what they're asking for is gonna take quite some time.
Yeah, George will respond back and be like, "We're currently on our way to check into the things that go in people's heads, so we'll be a while. But thank you for picking that up, and why don't we meet up tonight at the Tiny Dragon and kind of go over stuff and compare notes from everything."
I text back the thumbs up emoji.
Yep.
So
George will look to Evie and be like, "Evie, you down for some more not bad synth noodles and maybe a little bit of synth teriyaki tonight and some cheap beer?"
Sure. Yeah.
We're meeting up with the rest of the crew tonight over at the Tiny Dragon down in Little Tokyo.
Sounds good. I think I will actually need that beer after this freaking week.
okay.
I'll
So,
throw in a whiskey along with it. My treat.
Lance and Echo, you head over to near Retirement Row, actually, or more commonly known in current LA as Skid Row. But when you get here, you were given instructions on how to find Quentin. Once you find his general place of work, you do see a man. He's in a large coat, big baseball cap kind of hat, And he's just looking around, waiting. When you approach him, he turns to you and looks. Hey, before you speak, you the Blade Runners Anders talked about?
Looks like we came recommended, Echo. Yeah, I pull up my badge and say, yeah, LAPD, RDU department.
Yeah, not here. Over there. He just gestures to an open garage. Like, it's a garage fixing a bunch of cars, but it does have a lot of sound coming out of it from the cars. Assuming you follow it. Okay.
Like, does it look sound like a garage mechanical garage? Is that that's what I'm getting?
Actually, no. There
Chop
are
shop?
physical people fixing cars here. Like, it's not automated. Like an old school garage chop shop. When you walk inside, he just looks at one of the bouncers and nods at them, and the bouncer lets you in. Or bodyguard, sorry. And he brings you to an office. Inside the office, he just sits down. It's bare bones. It's just a desk, some chairs, a pitcher of water that probably had some ice in it at some point that's melted away, and one large LED light that lights up the whole room. He says, right, so, and as mentioned, you need to get some information. I was the guy to speak with. And you said that you weren't here to shut down the operation, is that right?
As far as shutting down of any operation goes, if the investigation requires it, maybe. But for now, we're just having a conversation.
Conversation's good.
Yeah, we got
Conversation's
one
for
job.
pride.
We got one job, retiring replicants. Unless you
Alright.
got replicants working down there in the machines or something like that,
All
I don't
human.
see us getting involved. Unless this conversation doesn't go well.
Hey, this conversation always goes well with me. Okay, so, you wasn't specific, so you mind showing me what it is that you need me to do and look for?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Pull out the list.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I pull out the list and just kind of like look over it, and as you start saying, you tell me, like I hold my thought.
I was like, you tell me what kind of tool can get into a replicant's brain without cutting it open.
Well, based on this, nothing by default, but there's one thing I can think of that you can, if you're smart enough and know your way around wirings, that you can configure to do what you're put here. You know exactly what happened? What was it used for? Unless you can't tell me. The tool doesn't change either way. Just curious. Plus, it'll help me identify the expertise needed to do it.
Memories, erasing them, putting them in, changing things, mixing it all up. The person that had this done to them was just as confused as we are. They didn't even know what year it was. So either there's a time machine out here or someone's changing memories.
Okay. So, first things first. The tool you're looking for. He looks around a drawer and he pulls out a few photos. This thing is what you're looking for. Lilith Labs uses this. Lilith Labs would be where Evie and George are. See, this thing is generally for replicant, particularly Blade Runners, who failed their baseline test one too many times. Before recalibration, you use this to soothe their brains. It basically, in a nutshell, sends electrical impulses to the brain that jumble up the normal electrical impulses in your brain essentially manipulating your general mental state and emotion, making sure that the replicants are calm, that they're not fighting against the memory implants, because if they are, and you do memory implants on a not so mentally stable Skinner, you have some issues. And this is what I meant. If you recalibrate this enough, you can basically make those electrical impulses do whatever the fucking hell you want. You can make him dance the cha-cha for all I care. And someone with enough electrical knowledge and tech savviness can do that, even if they don't know what the thing is necessarily. You're looking for someone who's got motivation, tech knowledge, and a pretty good grasp of the mental state of whoever you're affecting. So, think brain scans. As far as erasing memories, this thing can't erase memories. You need something from the memory lab for that. Just so happens, Lilith Labs is or was under a bit of a transition period and still is. Right now they're transferring all the equipment down to the newly built Stelline Labs. Wallace's own personal lab thing. Lilith Tyrell is no longer making those memories for people. Stelline Labs is now the new thing. During that process, certain equipment gets sent to the junkyard. Wallace is using the latest and greatest, but to be fair, the old equipment would work just as fine. Those two things based on what you gave me. I'm gonna assume because you're at my door that you want to know who has purchased those kinds of things from me.
Well, I'm assuming since you got a photograph and you're not showing it to us, it's not in your hands anymore.
Yeah, I don't keep things in a... I don't keep inventory. Too much risk. I procure on request. But these two things specifically, I've had guys looking for the electro thing for a less than savory means. I've got guys looking for the... Well, actually, I've never had guys looking for the memory eraser. No one wants to touch that shit. Except one guy. Now, obviously, I don't deal in names, but this guy seemed a little, off, you know? So, I decided to do a bit of a background check on him. Here. He hands you a piece of paper. Lucas Tyrell. He ordered those things right around the time that Lilith Labs was being defunct and operations were being transferred to Stelline Labs. Or at least right around the time it was declared. And by the way, he came in specifically knowing that this shit was going to go down. He knew exactly when the best time to start taking it was. He may have hired me to procure it, but he knew all the information. Saved me a lot of time researching. He also had delivered to this address. It's a... Last I checked, it was some kind of warehouse. Like a storage locker of sorts. Don't know what he's done with it since, but this was over a month ago. Just hands you. That's everything I got.
Address. I'm just gonna take a quick look at the address. Is that the same address as the warehouse where the shootout happened and everything?
No. It's not.
Oh, Mr. Echo, Detective Echo, I think we have a new lead. This is Lucas Tyrell.
Yeah, we appreciate this. I think
Always happy to help.
we'll be talking more in the
Blade
future.
Runners.
As long as it's both beneficiary for both of us.
Always happy to help, officers.
Also, quit living like a replicant. I like point to everything. It's just so bare bones in here.
You look... Oh, well, the less stuff you put in the room, the less places there are to hide a bug.
tap my head and I begin to walk out. Been good talking to you.
Come by any time here if you need more information. Always happy to help the Blade Runners.
I'm gonna walk out with Lance, just be like, Lucas Tyrell.
What a name.
Complicated. I told you things were getting political.
So,
Always political.
while you guys are there, George and Evie, you are heading not to Stellene Labs. Tyrell, or Lilith Labs, is still where the memories are being made until the transition is complete. However, once you arrive there, Lilith Labs is a little more bare bones than it used to be. It just has the bare minimum equipment needed to function, but it is clearly being like a store that's gradually being closed.
Yeah.
Stellene Labs is still under construction, but this is where it is being made. Inside, you will be greeted. Actually, I need to ask, do you guys inform them that you're arriving, or do you do this as a surprise?
I would have called.
That
I
makes
would have
sense.
informed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you'll be greeted by Lilith Tyrell. She's a woman in her early 40s. Her hair's kind of slicked back with a little pompadour-style poof on it, in a formal dress, and she looks at the two of you. Detectives, please step inside. I've had my equipment prepared, just so we can save you a bit of time, but it would be beneficial to my staff if we knew exactly what we were looking for with these. She looks at whichever one of you is handing over the bio data.
So, we believe that there was some memory erasure, and there was also something, I don't know, programmed into the brain similar to the Nexus 6's that just caused him to die for seemingly no reason. We have yet to hear back on the autopsy, though. But the doctors were pretty confident that he had been altered.
Oh, this is the
within
autopsy
last
data.
month.
Like, they've given
this
you
is the
everything they have.
autopsy.
They just don't know how to
Gotcha.
make.
Okay.
What do you make of it?
Okay.
And if you don't mind my saying this, George will look to Evie, and then with her okay, he will look to the doctor and say, also anything you can cross-reference in that information with particular specimens and subjects who might have had memories accidentally or otherwise implanted from Calantha or created that might simulate such things from a Calantha military campaign.
We'll get to work. If you'd like to monitor the progress, you're free to come into my office.
Thank you.
He moves, and
After
she plugs
you,
it in.
officer.
So good.
She starts
Yeah.
messing with the memories, and after a couple of hours,
George is gonna look at this place as soon as he walks in, like as he's walking through the halls, and he's going to try and clock any surveillance equipment, anything like that, basically casing the place in case maybe we have to break in, or maybe at some point they got broken into.
yeah, there's still security cameras here. There's still security guards. It's still a functioning building, and Wallace is keeping a
Okay.
tight leash around it, so there are several armed security guards roaming around the place.
Does it seem uniquely more secure than it would typically be of this kind of place?
It is
Almost like they're
extremely
overcompensating.
It is extremely secure, but it is not. It is what you come to expect. This place is extremely
Okay.
important in Nexus 9 replication.
Yeah.
Replicants. So it's only what you expect
gotcha.
it to be.
I
When she
gotcha.
plugs in the data and she starts going through it, in a couple of hours, she does make a small remark. Huh. Well, you're definitely correct about memory erasures, and it was targeted memories, which is unusual. All the replicant recalibration machines are designed to erase everything, leaving behind only bare bones information, but this is against protocol, even of the machines. See,
Custom jobs,
everything.
you say.
Yes. If you look here, everything beyond this particular date was the target of erasure. And when she points to that date, it is the same date as the mission. Sorry, Pete and Jack's last mission. The terrorist cell they were trying to blow up. He looked odd. And his brains show significant degradation. His mind has been altered. We use a form of electrotherapy to calm replicants that are required for recalibration. It's meant to keep them in a calmer state so they take properly to their new memories and they don't disrupt the recalibration process. But this looks like it's similar, but it looks like it destroyed or damaged his mind, like repeated overuse and misuse at that. This is not something we could do in this laboratory even if we wanted to. Everything that we use, every equipment we use here is monitored strictly by Wallace. The moment something like this would have happened, it would have sent alarms to them and the RDU. She looks further. It looks like these electric shocks may have caused a form of psychosis, or did this replicant happen to show any forms of unawareness of his surroundings? Confusion, maybe?
Yes, he had no memory. He still thought that it was the same day or the day after his last mission. Didn't know what year it was.
Day of, I thought it was day of.
Day of.
Oh, it was the day of? Okay.
But she looks... This is just a speculation, detectives. I don't pretend to know what actually happened, but if this date must have been important. You wouldn't leave it as the point that you wouldn't erase otherwise. If you use the electric device in a certain way, maybe you're trying to recreate this date, whatever happened on this date, that would be something.
He did try and complete his last mission. It just wasn't on a terrorist cell.
Oh.
It was on a hospital.
Is it possible that somebody could, keeping in this vein, is it possible that somebody could use by way of recreating or reawakening this memory and hyper-focusing on it, could potentially make them feel that they were reliving in the actual moment, not only in terms of mentally, but also in terms of visually and auditorily, their memory, and try and redo it?
Detective, not only is that theoretically possible, you could alter the same memory to have them act in a certain way, or maybe think they act in a certain way.
And he would have no idea.
No. You'd be reliving the memory as if it was happening in front of him. George will pull out his badge, his Wallace badge, and just coyly show it to her and say, who would have access to that kind of technology and that kind of knowledge? Like I said, this laboratory, but we can't. Even if we wanted to, the moment we do anything of that sort, Wallace is going to come here with armed guards, or more likely their armed guards who are already here going to shoot us. It's impossible to do this in this facility.
He will put his badge away and say, I understand. Do you keep records of previous employees, of past employees, disgruntled or otherwise?
There were plenty of previous employees during the Tyrell Corporation. I should have a list here, and she starts printing one out. And there is a kid, he's about 20 or so, who walks in. Mom? Not now, Lucas. As she says this, I will point this out as the time when Echo and Lance mention what they found out about Lucas Tyrell. And she just says, yeah. Go ahead. What does Lance and Echo say on the KIA right now as a call? Because George has full access to it at all times, so you can inform almost immediately without using a message. What do you say?
Hey, Detective George, looks like we're on our way over to talk to or maybe find out what's going on with the little old Lucas Tyrell. Got his information from a procurer of hot commodities with apparently really, really good reviews. So that's our end.
Yeah,
You send
the source
you
says
send the
little,
de-
the source.
Do you send the deets?
You can.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, we would send the deets. Yeah,
Okay.
because
You were
I'm
saying.
going to add on to there. Yeah, the source said he's a little weirdo. Watch out.
Okay.
Not now, Lucas. Okay.
George Stone will using his neural port. As soon as he gets that and reads it, he will open a secure line to the terminal where the doctor is, and just send it and say, "Is your son's last name Tyrell?"
She nods.
Okay. George will look and say, look to Evie and very quietly and very calmly say, the son is somehow implicated in this. I'm gonna go keep an eye on him. You keep things here, okay? And he'll just put his hand on your shoulder and say, you're doing good. And I will walk out. I will make sure that as I walk out of the door and the door closes, I will make sure my PKD is loaded and that the safety is on, but that the holster clip on my side is not clipped. And I will follow the kid.
He is heading outside the lab, and one of the guards looks and he says, "Hey, can you tell my mom I'm heading to the city if she comes looking for him? I'll be back in a couple of hours." "Sure, Mr. Tyrell." He gets on his spinner and he flies. Will you follow?
I will follow.
Great. So Evie is in the memory lab, waiting for more information. George is following Lucas Tyrell. Echo and Lance, depending on what you decide, you may intercept, or you may also follow, leaving Evie in the memory lab alone. But for now,
George will send the deed to Lance saying, Lucas Tyrell is the son of the owner of the main doctor. I'm tailing him now.
And for now, this is where we will end the story for tonight. As always, thank you everyone for watching. We still have 4 of those +2s here. No more negatives so far. Too late to send anything now.
Yay.
Make sure you send it next week. But before we go, as always, each of you, introduce yourselves and tell everyone what you're up to and where they can find you if you want to be found at all. Echo.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I appreciate the raid that just happened. If you guys wanted to join us, Cybernation Uncensored, the Discord, the links are there. Join us. It's a great community. It's how I got involved. Normally, I play Cyberpunk. Actually, I just started a Cyberpunk game with George Stone in another group. It's we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate everyone tonight. I'll see you around.
Yes.
And Shockman.
Hey guys, it's Michael Shockman here. You can find me here on Sunday nights for at least the next while this is going on here on Cybernation Uncensored. You can also find me on Mondays and Tuesdays for definite. Well, most Mondays and Tuesdays on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/DM Shockman, where I am currently still playing Star Wars The Old Republic, doing our Jedi Knight playthrough. We just started the Onslaught expansion, which I'm looking forward to continuing on with that. It's a lot harder than I was expecting. And right now, we were playing Shadowrun, but that frankly was a little bit hard on my voice, so I decided to go with a different SWTOR character, playing a bounty hunter on my off days whenever I have the chance and the energy. You can also find me over on YouTube, both at youtube.com/@Michael Shockman. That's Michael with an EAL, not an AEL. Michael Shockman, all lowercase, all one word. And at youtube.com/@the DM Shockman Institute, all lowercase, all one word. You can also find me on Twitter at DM Shockman. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to where things are going. I think this is awesome, and I can't wait to keep on going. I can't wait until next week. Is it Sunday yet? Have a good night, guys.
George Lee, what are you up to?
Hi, I am George Lee with 2 Y's. You can find me on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Right now, I have just started playing my very first playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and I'm playing a Malkavian and having a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, hopefully you guys can come and check it out.
Watch her argue the stop sign. Lance? Sorry, Nolan.
I know, right?
What are
Lance
names?
sucked. That's how good it was. But hey guys, I'm Nolan North. I'm in this community Discord here under Cyberpunk Nation Uncensored. This is a great little place. We like to play games here, tabletop role-playing games, and of course we host very, very, very intense games. I mean, even I had to, like, when we took that little 10-minute break, I had to take a second for myself because that was a lot that just got dropped. But besides that, you can find me in this Discord again as Noland. Sometimes I play some other games in here, so I have multiple names in here. But I'm also on Instagram at Nolan North. And then also other things that are going on. We've got a casting call out for Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. So if you're into some weird gonzo, over the top, acid, 80s, 90s, retro futurism, cassette, tape, technology, really cool stuff. It's by Super Savage Systems. Check it out. And then we also got Team Plug and Play, which I'm a part of. That'll be coming. We'll be doing some Vast Grim sometime in the coming weeks, I hope. So that'll be really exciting. So keep your eyes out for that if you like playing the Borg system.
All right, so everyone just join the Cybernations and Discord. The link is above in the chat. You can join in the casting call or join any other games you might see on there. Be part of the future streams that are going to show up. Until then, we will see you guys again next week. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Good.
Cybernation Uncensored.